Biofriendly podcast. It's the Biofriendly podcast.
Our normal roll with it.
Our normal roll with it as opposed to our unusual roll with it.
I like how that sounds, our normal roll with it. That sounds like it sounds like a song from Foggy Bell.
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It does, absolutely.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to rock, because here comes our normal roll with it.
Normal roll with it. Classic.
Classic Zubatsian tune.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
at least
it
I'm
is.
also getting to hear this all day.
Yeah, Elise, I tell you what, when she joined the team, very quickly she was like, oh, okay, so this is the energy of this office.
Yeah. How well did she know you before she agreed to join the team?
She was totally surprised and quit for a good. I'm just kidding. She didn't quit. No, yeah, she had no.
Even better
She
than
you
could
know,
have ever
she,
imagined.
She won the most awesome person interviewed amongst hundreds of thousands award, and then came in, and she's wonderful. We love Elise.
It was like those American Idol lines where outside of our building, and it just line went from Pasadena. It was so far.
They had guitars. There were some people who, like, someone had a peacock.
Adam Devine was here.
Adam Devine was here. There were there were the people who could juggle clowns. They literally were juggling. It was amazing.
Yeah,
full-grown clowns juggling them in the air. I couldn't believe it. And we didn't make that one because Elise is better.
Yes.
But
she joined us recently. Oh, but it's been a little over a month now, and so she's. But you're having fun, right?
I'm having the most fun ever.
Yeah.
So monotone.
That's what we love about you, though.
I'm having the most fun ever.
Deliver the goods.
That's
Just
fun.
like that.
Well, those who are only listening to the show, you will hear another voice, a fourth voice in the party, and that means we have a guest.
What?
Yes.
I had no idea.
It's not only a guest, it's a friend.
What?
It's a friend. It's somebody that we've met before and hung out with before.
Well, we've only got like 3 friends.
3 friends, tops. She's one of
So
them,
it
though.
must be Holly.
Yes, it's Holly. You had to count on your hands. You're like, let's see. So yes, we are welcoming today. We are actually very excited about this because we met Holly before the lockdown, before the pandemic, and
Before the great pandemic.
before the great pandemic.
It's kind of a marker in time, isn't it? Like
Yes.
that, what happened before, then what
Yeah.
happens after.
Yeah, we were a month before everything went wild. We were hanging out at a green conference with her, like many of the guests who've been on the show.
Yeah.
And we got along well. This is Holly Beale. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Holly Beale to the show. She's the Senior Program Manager of Community Environmental Sustainability at Microsoft. It's a little small company.
Yeah,
just getting
it's a little.
getting
They're
off the
getting
ground.
started
Yeah.
up in the northwest somewhere.
so.
I'm not sure if they're in a large
It's an
area
upstart.
there, but
Yeah.
it's not even I'm not sure if even anyone lives up in the
Yes.
northwest anymore.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
No, it's amazing to have you, Holly. Welcome to the show. It's such an honor and privilege,
Thank you.
and good to have a friend
Thank you.
back.
So happy to be here. Yeah, I remember when we first met on that bus on our way to go plant some trees, and I
Yeah.
learned about your podcast and listened to a bunch of episodes ever since, and it's just so relatable and so funny, and I am so honored to be on the show. Yeah, from a little startup, Microsoft will be somebody one day, but thanks for having me.
We're rooting for Microsoft to get out there.
We
really
hope you make it. Really great.
get off the ground. Yeah, that was a memorable bus ride because, for us, this was our first outing. And
Well, we signed up. We said, well, what do you want to do? And there was a thing that said, you can plant trees. And we're like, we want to plant trees. This is great. So we
Yeah.
plant trees, and we find out that Microsoft is sponsoring this event and has
Yeah.
found the trees and done the whole thing. And
Yeah.
we get on the bus, and there's these nice people talking to us. And little do you know, these nice people are actually running the event. And one of them was Holly.
Yes.
And it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Are you
Yeah,
in the
we
pits?
chose
Go,
that.
sorry.
Oh, I was going to give some more context on the event. Just
Please.
that we
Yeah.
were able to sponsor that tree planting, and it was through American Forest that we found that location, because we looked at where would be a location close to the event that would have the most impact. So they call it an equity score, where they're now looking at the scoring of different cities to look at where would be the best place for investment in additional trees, because trees are amazing. Everybody
They
loves
are.
trees. We all want more trees, but trees in certain locations can have an even bigger impact than in others. So they've created this tool to be able to figure out the best places. And so we used that tool, found this school, and then that's why we picked that location. And then it's always surprisingly, but maybe now becoming less surprisingly, easy to find volunteers and people who want to come out and plant with us.
Yeah.
And it's just good good, clean, friendly family fun for all.
It is, and it's nice because the kids really appreciate it. Like it's
remember that? The kids came out at recess and they were like talking to us.
They
were like, "Oh my God, we get shade when we're playing baseball." Like, they will be outside more because they have more trees.
Yeah. Well, and in greater Phoenix, Arizona, there's no shortage of sun, so it's
true.
So it is nice. It really is
very warm.
Really, really, really kind thing to do. And also, like they were native trees. Like it's neat. We also learned a lot about trees. These trees had green bark. Because they can actually photosynthesize with their bark, not just with the leaves on the trees, which I thought was the coolest thing. Because in that area with all that heat, the only way they can survive is by just turning everything into energy, because they don't get as much water.
I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah. Well, that's because you don't listen or pay attention to things.
I don't listen. What are we doing? What's happening?
Yeah.
And actually, Phoenix, now the Phoenix City Council I think last week, just pledged to create tree equity in their city. It's the first for any city in the U.S. So they are actually going to have citywide that they're going to implement this tree equity programs. And that's through American Forest. So their councilwoman called trees vital, and they said that they provide shade, and there were more days above 110 degrees in Phoenix last year than in ever in previous years with records available.
Wow.
So trees help to cool the neighborhoods down and can actually save lives. They do save lives.
They save lives, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and they're appreciated everywhere they go, and we're counting them with our Johnny Appleseed.
We are
Foundation.
counting all the trees.
Wait, are you actually doing something like that? I listened to one of your podcasts. You mentioned that. Is this just still a running joke?
We are very, very carefully and accurately counting everything. Jacob has a count tally. Jacob, how many trees are we up to?
3,205,000,000,005.
Okay, so we're getting there. We need to get to 4 trillion before we'll be satisfied.
Yeah. No, we're you know us. We'll run a joke for as long as it's got no steam left,
and then
more,
and then run it a little too long.
Yes, a lot further than that. But how long have you been with Microsoft now?
Oh, I've been with Microsoft since I graduated college, so like 6 years now. But I've been in different roles. I started as a technical account manager, and then I moved on to our energy and sustainability team for our data centers. So our data center energy team. And so I worked on that team for a while as an energy analyst. And then about 3 years ago, I created the position that I'm in now, which is around environmental sustainability in our communities where we host data centers. So this is really about corporations looking at where they have operations and how they can have a positive impact in those communities. So this is, of course, looking at your own operations. How can you as a company use less of the natural resources that are in that area? But then going beyond just your operations, how do you give back to that community? How do you really integrate yourself as a positive contributing community member? And we have several programs around that, but mine is around environmental sustainability. And so understanding the top priorities of the communities where we operate, because they're very different in the different places that we operate. Phoenix, as we were just talking about, is very different than Eastern Washington or Amsterdam or Dublin. They're super different. So understanding their priorities and then seeing what we can do to support local projects.
Yeah. That's cool. Actually, you brought up something that I think would be I think our audience probably doesn't quite understand, and something you have to worry about a lot is, I think a lot of times people don't realize that so if you have data in the cloud, right, and Microsoft deals with quite a lot of data in the cloud, between Office and OneDrive and the million other things you do, enterprise software, everything else. But when you have data in the cloud, in order to have that data exist, you need to have a computer or a server running somewhere in some place. And that server is using up energy. And that energy is still, to this day, producing quite a bit of greenhouse gas. So could you kind of break that down? Just because I think people don't quite understand that the cloud equals,
It does. Yeah. And that's not quite the area that I work in day to day, but it is definitely something that's part of what we think about all the time as our cloud services are becoming increasingly vital to our economy, and more businesses and individuals are all moving to the cloud. But for the most part, this is actually a really good thing. We've done some studies on moving to the cloud and how that impacts the world's carbon footprint. And it actually is much more efficient to move from your on-premises servers to Microsoft Cloud services. We have some studies that we've done really recently and actually found that our services are up to 93% more energy efficient and up to 98% more carbon efficient than traditional enterprise data centers. So I can happy to share. I don't know, your
what do you do to make it more efficient, and then how do you kind of lower the emissions cost? Because I know that that's been a focus of the company. Like what kind of stuff is Microsoft up to for that?
So we have the operational efficiency that you wouldn't have if every single business has their own individual server farm. So we have this efficiency that we can do just from the scale and being able to share the resources. It's kind of like another thing of like solar, putting solar on your home, and then you have all the infrastructure required to power your home with solar versus an offsite solar farm. It's all that infrastructure just once rather than replicated across every single home. For different things. I mean, there's the panels, but there's also all the other infrastructure that's required. So having our data centers in one central place, and then we can have the operational efficiency, equipment efficiency, there's infrastructure efficiency as well. And then also we have our renewable electricity. So we have renewable energy goals. For Microsoft, we are committed to be a carbon negative company by 2030. So that actually means that we will sequester more carbon than we produce as a company. So of course we start with reducing the amount of emissions that we create as a company. And that is a huge part of that has been traditionally with our data centers and the energy used for that. But we are switching to green energy. So reducing the amount of carbon that we produce in the first place. And then we are investing in these incredible projects across the world to sequester carbon. And so we can pass that threshold of not even just carbon neutral, but going into carbon negative.
Yeah,
which is terrific.
Microsoft is such a cool company because they're one of the ones, we've joked about it on the show before, when businesses like throw out the date, but then give no backup data
about
fun
of Amazon
how they're going to do the thing. You know, they say we're going to do it by this date, but then they don't have a plan. But this is one where you go, I can actually see the goal, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually okay to not always have a plan though, because if we waited until we had the plan and knew exactly how we were going to do what we were going to do before we made the goal, then like we would never make the goals. So it can actually be a catalyst for these bold, crazy ideas that just might work if we go ahead and make the goal, make it public, and then you're like, oh crap, okay, now I actually have to do that. And we've been honest about that. Like we haven't understood every step of the way how we're going to get there. That's why with our climate investment fund, we're investing $1 billion in these new technologies that don't even all exist yet.
Right.
We know that like it's gonna take some wacko ideas that maybe aren't even a thing yet, but we need to get those ideas going.
But we have always appreciated that yes, that's true. Sometimes it's good to just put it out there, but we've appreciated that in the case of Microsoft, we've seen that you may not know exactly how you're going to do it, but there's action that is put in place, and you talk, and the actions are also clearly stated. Yeah. We are investing in this. We are trying that. We are putting these technologies.
We definitely try to do is share what we're doing so that other companies can do the same. Like we've heard it over and over from our chief environmental officer and even our president and even our CEO saying, if we as just one company, even if we did everything like the best company in the world and like just wanted to pat ourselves on the back that, we're the that's not enough. If you have to bleep that.
It's okay.
I'm glad it's finally not me.
I'll handle it. It's finally not Noel, and don't worry, I've got you covered, Holly.
Okay, we'll say we're the best. We pat ourselves on the back, say we're the best company ever. Woo! That's not nearly enough to to move the needle on the global scale. And so, yes, sharing what we're doing, trying to ensure even with our renewable energy investments, people are like, oh, why aren't you already 100% renewable energy? Now, like, yes, we are getting there. We're getting there really quickly, but we're also being super thoughtful about our investments and how they can help change the entire electricity grid and change our whole system of electricity to be cleaner and bring others on the journey with us, and including things like environmental justice pieces of it too, and making sure that everyone is included in this revolution and not just the people, just a certain subset of the population.
Yeah, well, it's an unusual position that Microsoft is in, where it actually, as you kind of mentioned, with just having all the servers in one place, having all the infrastructure in one place, doing things in one place means that your company making one change makes a massive change. But also because of the financial impact and your business impact across the world, I think making decisions like this, it does. If you make a smart decision and the right decision, it doesn't just affect what happens to Microsoft. Potentially, if it's well invested, it's something that affects many, many other people as well, which is really cool, and it's nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to get back to the fact that you started the environmental sustainability group at Microsoft. It didn't exist before you and a friend or coworker had come up with this idea, and you started it, and now it's huge, like thousands of members of this group, right?
Yeah, so that's a little separate from so I have my day job, the community environmental sustainability, working on sustainability projects in the communities where we have data centers. But then that's also true that a couple years ago, there were people across Microsoft who cared, like definitely people who care. We're not the first people at Microsoft who cared about sustainability, but we just didn't have any way to meet each other, to bounce ideas off each other, to work together. We didn't have any sort of like coalescing force to bring us all together. And so, my colleague and I, and who's also, a great friend, Peanut Butter is my jelly, we started the worldwide sustainability community, and we pulled in the different groups that we found around the world who are already working on stuff, and just kind of created this umbrella organization. And that makes it sound super formal, but it's not formal. It's all 100% volunteer run. But now we have almost 50 different leads for all of the different programs that we've started. We have over 5,000 members from over 100 different countries, and we have over 25 chapters around the world.
Wow.
And we just led a Earth Day campaign that was extremely successful. And this was led by a colleague, and she just was absolutely incredible, pulled in a V team of 10 different employees, and we volunteered over 300 hours of planning for this 3-day event. But we had over 3,600 attendees across 56 countries, and this was 3 days of different sessions of speakers and panelists, and all this content, and just you have the numbers for it, right? You have 40 sessions, 60 speakers, hours of content. We had like how many new members we had. But the thing that she was talking about too is that it's beyond just the numbers of it too. They only tell really part of the story of this impact, how this allowing the connections, and this is true for the entire worldwide sustainability community. It's sure we have a lot of people. That's awesome. We have, more people than a lot of companies have in their whole company.
Right.
But the huge thing about it is connecting hundreds of employees around the world together to new concepts, and to each other, and to the key resources that they can leverage to continue their learning journeys, and this year-round impact, and really making sustainability part of everything that they do.
That's incredible.
That's wonderful.
That's incredible.
It really is. It's awesome.
Really nice. It's really
nice.
You're the peanut butter to my jelly.
I am.
Yeah.
I thought I was the chocolate to your peanut butter.
Either way. It depends on what mood snack we're in. Do you like PB&J? Are you a PB&J fan?
I think that PB&J. You know what? I don't dislike PB&J. I usually don't choose PB&J. I just want the peanut butter.
Okay. So, but what about Reese's?
I know that's weird.
No,
but I do. I just
favorite
want
brand,
the peanut
though.
butter.
What's your favorite brand? Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Oh, when I was a kid, it always had to be creamy. It always had to be smooth.
Oh, yeah.
But now I go for the crunch. I kind of dig the crunch. I grew into that, which is not a well accepted thing, but I usually get like the Trader Joe's. Yeah.
I wonder,
My son
I want to do a
literally
quick search how many people crunchy versus creamy sales. Because I think crunchy all the way.
Crunchy all the way.
That's hilarious. My son just said yesterday when he had a peanut butter tortilla, which I didn't even know was but my wife,
get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I do on like climbing or backpacking or mountain biking trips or something. If you do a tortilla, because it doesn't get so messy, you can put the peanut butter in there. You can put some honey. You can put some cinnamon. Roll it up. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's you young people, you and my son and Elise, and you guys all know. You all understand what this whole thing about tortillas and peanut butter is. But I haven't. Anyway, so he did that, but he also he had crunchy peanut butter once, and he's like, why did they do this?
Why would they do this?
It's like, why would they do this? Why would they make this?
I'm telling you, I was like him when I was a kid, and then I grew to accept it.
I only like it with celery.
Celery!
Where you dip the crunchy peanut butter on the celery. That's a good snack too.
Not with bread. Crunchy and like bread. I don't know. It's too soft.
I think now you've inspired me. I want to also try peanut butter with like carrots or something. I feel like that little bit of sweetness might be
solid move. What's that thing called? I used to have them as a kid all the time, where you do the celery, peanut butter, and then you put raisins. And it's called
Ants on a log.
Ants on a log. Ants on a log. You know it. You knew the snack.
That's wonderful.
Well, I'm actually glad that you said the thing about when I'm backpacking, hiking, because look. I follow what Holly's up to around the world, and it's like following Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Well, this morning, before we woke up, she climbed Mount Everest.
I'm sure she did. I'm actually going to share. I have some pictures.
Okay.
Holly.
I got to tell you, before you get the night after, we had there was this like closing party at the Green Biz event that we went to, and so we'd all been up till 4 a.m. or something, just like
having a great time,
raging,
dancing.
It was a lot of fun. It was one of the better party events I've had in a long time.
Good time.
And so Jacob and I were we went to bed and then woke up. I don't know, later.
We skipped a couple sessions that morning.
And then we check in. We check in with Holly, and she's like, so just I climbed up the top of the Camelback Mountain, and came back. She'd already done 30 things that day.
That morning.
Yes.
I know. I'm going to show this first picture, which is it looks like, I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's the one, is that Half Dome that you're climbing right there?
Sorry.
It just looks like a white screen.
Well, I know. Here, I'm going to get closer. So you can see it.
So now Jacob is getting up closer to the screen. He's showing it. You still can't see what's happening.
That's in Joshua Tree.
Wow.
Joshua Tree.
So that's a good one. And then there's this one, which is you're hanging from like the top of
should show we'll show the picture on our
I'm going to put them up here.
Screen, but
this is the one where you're hanging
This is hilarious. Jacob keeps trying to show these. He keeps trying to show these if you're just listening, because most people listen, they don't watch.
You're right.
He's trying to show images from his iPad onto a Zoom call, and it just looks like a big blotch of light.
I'm familiar with the photos.
Yeah. Where was this one where you're hanging from the?
And that's in Thailand, in Tamsai Bay.
Thailand.
Wow. But by the way, I just did a quick search, and from a poll of what type of peanut butter do you prefer, 59% of women, come on ladies, said creamy.
What?
And 52% of men. So I guess creamy, that's okay. More crunchy for me.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think, you know what? It's just there have to be some people who do the less popular thing, the underground thing, the secret cool thing that other people aren't doing, and that can be, that you can hold on to that. you crunchy folks, like pineapples on pizza, fruit in general on pizza.
Sorry, we're super sidetracked, but the podcast called The Anthropocene Reviewed. Have you heard that one?
I haven't.
He takes facets of our human-centered world, the Anthropocene that we're in now, and he rates them on a 5-star scale. It's like John Green, and it is just fascinating. I mean, the topics that you're like, why would I ever be interested in this topic? But then you listen to it, and you're just riveted, and it's poetic, and it's informative, and they're pretty short and easy to consume. And one is about Hawaiian pizza, and he rates putting pineapple on pizza, and I highly recommend it.
Really? We'll check that out, and then we'll find an excuse to have him on the show.
I have to pause for a second just because Elise's recording of her voice, like for some reason, isn't registering right now. And when we started, it was, but I don't know if something booted her out or something. So I'm just gonna start the audio just for
The
a
entire
millisecond.
audio. So you mean the whole show is just going to stop for a minute? But you'll never know because we're going to edit it in post.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there we go.
am I
Just
back?
I
And
tried
you're
to add
back.
an "ets" like a "let's" as if I'd finished my "let's" because it was in the middle of the "let's," and I don't know if it worked. We'll find out.
We'll see.
We'll find out later.
We'll see how much of an editing nightmare
In
that
the
is.
future, yeah. Normally we pause and stop so that Jacob can just kind of like artfully stop it,
No.
make it clean. But this
Yeah, I
time I
was
talked right through the cut.
I was wondering why he's still sitting there. I was like, you can go back now.
You know, his eyes have problems, and he really wants to see what Holly looks like because
Yeah.
he forgot.
Gotta get
So he got
closer.
really close to the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so back to the travel thing. I wanted to say, are you back in Washington right now, or are you traveling currently?
No, I am working from Mexico right now. It
Awesome.
was very gray in Seattle. It's nice though. I want to get back. It's Washington in the summer is pretty unbeatable. Like I travel around the world. And I know traveling definitely has a carbon footprint. I'm extremely aware. We don't do. I'm
okay.
extremely aware of my carbon footprint, and I do a lot of things
We have
to mitigate.
We have a general
And
rule
so
here where we're not going to knock anybody for living their lives. We're not going to put anybody down
Yeah.
for doing what they got to do. It's just try to do your best. That's all we can. That's all we ask. And I know you do a lot.
And I definitely do. I mean, to like very much of an extreme in
Yeah.
a lot of things I do. Like the people are like, "What? That is way, way beyond.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?" Like
Sure.
I try to not buy anything new at all, like as much as humanly possible. Even
All of it.
Yes.
Take my word for
it. And, like your underwear. Wait, what? That is one thing. Underwear is one thing that I do. Try to go for it.
Yeah, it's best.
It's probably
you
better
know
for
what?
your health.
Just for that one thing, we'll allow you to buy it new. But only that. Everything else we expect nothing
Everything
but.
else, like even like all my gear for all my different sports, like there's geartrade.com. I don't want to sound like an ad, but like it's just, you can get pretty much anything that you need. Use even Amazon. If you need it, first of all, you ask yourself, do I actually need this thing?
Right.
And then you're like, okay, if I really need it, can I borrow it? Do I need to actually own it, or can
Yeah.
I borrow it, rent it, have a used sharing economy model? Then is there a way that I can get it used either from neighbors? I'm on my local Buy Nothing group on Facebook, which is just phenomenal. You can just ask like, hey, I need like a walk, and you're like, oh, I have an extra one, here you go. It's just so great to share like that.
Yeah.
But then if you're like, okay, nobody has it, I really need it, and I need to get this thing. Even Amazon has a used filter, and they kind of hide it, but you can go to used and then just get stuff that was returned, which then I think that is so much better for your carbon footprint and for your materials footprint, because you're not generating new products. You're just keeping in recirculation products that have already been created. So I think your personal footprint is mitigated, at least mostly by that. So, and things are way cheaper. Like I got this really amazing pan, because ours were just like beyond usable, and it said it was gonna have this extreme deformity. So I thought it was gonna be completely broken, and it was just like a little bit dented on the side. And
there you go.
I got it.
That's a nice little tip for the audience there from Holly. There's a simple way to be green. It's a painless way to be green. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. When we met you at Green Biz, one of the things that you kind of presented on was the communities. When you go and kind of get involved with the communities where data centers are being put up, I'd love to hear a little bit about that, because that was a really cool thing to see some of those projects that you've been working on. So you can pick your favorite or just kind of an overview, whatever you like.
Pick your least favorite.
They're all our favorites.
That's a horrible thing to put around. It's like, oh, my least.
Pick your least favorite.
No, for the record, she's just randomly picking one. So if she says your thing right now, it's not her least favorite. No, it's me just messing with her.
Least
No, you don't really have to do least favorite.
Well, actually, we had one. Maybe I could talk about this. We had one that it just didn't turn out that fruitful, but I think it was still a really great exercise to do. And it was looking at reusing data center batteries when they leave our data center and the potential for reuse in communities. So let's say we have a community solar project that could use a battery, and these are just VRLA batteries that we have a lot of. And when we decommission them from the data center, then what? And is there still useful life remaining to be able to use in a community use? And it actually, the results were a little disappointing, but kind of in a good way, and kind of disappointing that we couldn't really use them in the community because they're pretty much all the way spent by the time they leave our data center. So it was a little disappointing because like we put in a good amount of work there. It was with Duke University actually to test the batteries, and it was just disappointing that we couldn't use them for the community, but in a good way that we're using them pretty much all the way. And then they are recycled, which obviously recycling, I could talk a lot about recycling and how it is so not the panacea that we have made it out to be.
Yes.
We've had that episode. Yeah.
Talked about how it's not the solve that people believed.
Well, and recycling batteries is a really complicated issue. And
Yeah, well, VRLA batteries, they are pretty simple in their components. And I mean, the main things are like the lead, which is 100% recyclable forever. And then the plastic, which is generally downcycled. So it becomes something else like a park bench or carpet or something, and then goes to a landfill or the ocean, just like everything, pretty much every plastic. I don't want to say every plastic that's recycled, but a lot of the plastic that's recycled is downcycled to something else. And then it really only has a couple more lives, unless it's intentionally designed in order to be reused, which is like circular economy principles, which we're starting to do more. But anyway, and of course the lead smelting process though is pretty gnarly. It's gnarly. Yeah. So we're looking at we have a whole advanced development team at Microsoft in our data centers that are looking at all of these things. We definitely have very smart people, very passionate, who are on it.
Well, again, and this is why, again, we're glad to have you on, because it's you do need some heavy hitters to take a look at this problem, because the fact of the matter is you can figure almost anything out if you just spend enough time and energy and money on figuring it out. It just has to be important enough. And so having a large organization like Microsoft, which we thought was a startup, but apparently we got some new data.
Apparently it's much bigger than we thought.
But having a big company put energy and money towards it makes a big difference, because you can put like a small portion of what you're making is way bigger than like, a large portion of someone else. So it's really that's really good. Yeah. So all right, now what's your favorite?
I was going to say, what was the favorite community project?
Yeah, that really worked out.
Yeah, there are so many, because they're just so different in all the places around the world. But I think some of my favorites have been some urban tree projects, because these projects are often, they're not large enough to contribute to Microsoft's carbon neutral goals, because that just requires such a vast scale of the trees that are required to like really get to that scale. But just one urban tree can be so much more impactful than one rural tree. There is just from air quality to the health effects in cities, asthma, heat due to the shade, as we started talking about at the beginning of this conversation, or crime rates and violence in cities actually lower when you have more trees, and even impacts on academic performance. So those are some of my favorite.
They're incredible. Yeah. I mean, we talked about like forest bathing, and some of just it is odd to think about just apart from just the way you just what it does to a community in terms of just making it feel like, well, this is a nicer place. I've got to treat things better, be better, try harder, whatever. There's also like just we are documented just. Like mental and spiritual changes that people get by being near trees. It's awesome. So putting them in urban areas, it's really huge. It's great.
Yeah. And then you also have the employment aspect of it too. And this is another thing that American Forest has been working on is career pathways in urban forestry. So it's also a career opportunity and to employ people in those fields. Also, some of the projects that we've supported have been around employing people in the solar industry, like in Virginia, where there's just a boom in solar, but we want to be able to hire locally into that industry. And so having some programs there and being thoughtful about who is invited to participate in the program, just being sure that we are reaching into the parts of the population that are traditionally left out.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's great.
It makes sense. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've already had you for a good amount of time, and I'm sure we could talk to you forever. But before we kind of wrap things up on your end, I just wanted to see, was there anything else that you wanted to share about something that is coming up, or
just something we need to know about, or that our audience should find out about that you're up to?
I guess two quick things. One is if you are interested in more on urban forestry, and if you're part of an organization that maybe hasn't been on your radar, or it's something you're interested in, city forest credits has been super valuable in finding those types of projects.
Cool.
They have a registry on their website, so you can find local projects. Also, just organizations like One Tree Planted. I just got my mom some trees planted for Mother's Day. They make great gifts. And let me see if I can find it. There's a great website too that kind of ranks or scores these different companies that do things like that, because you can say like, okay, I'll buy my mom these. I want to buy my mom trees. What organization? How do I know they're legitimate? How do I know this is actually going to plant trees? And so let me try to find it. They score the different companies that do that, so you can feel more confidence in your investment.
That's great. That's actually a good idea. I'm going to remember that. I want to get my mom a tree planted next year. I think she would love that.
Yeah, you could try like plant it in her bathroom.
Yeah. Plant it in her bathroom.
Yeah.
And with
She'd
One
really
Tree
appreciate
Planted, it's very affordable as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Holly Beale from Microsoft, our friend, our buddy.
Did you plant any trees on Earth Day? Did you get anything done on Earth Day? It's part of the event?
On Earth Day? No, I was here in Mexico, so I did 3 different panel discussions, one on with our Chief Environment Officer and our CVP of our cloud infrastructure or cloud operations and innovation on our cloud sustainability. And I did a talk on personal actions. So I talked about the types of actions like dollars, voice, and vote, how we first just really think about dollars and buying stuff to be more sustainable, but your voice is extremely important as well. And your vote, like legislation, national and local legislation is really important. And then I had a discussion on eating plants and the extreme importance of getting away from the horrors of the mechanized animal agriculture industry that we have today. And it's just slaughter of billions of animals. And
so we're very productive.
Very productive on Earth Day. I'd say she gave it her all.
No trees themselves, but
I was asking because we learned through the ether about this terrific holiday that nobody knew existed until just this last year. Where if you plant something on Earth Day,
then 30 days later,
on what they call Mustachio Bristlecone Day,
Mustachio Bristlecone,
which is the 22nd of May.
Yep.
You get a gift of some kind from the tree, from the greatest oldest tree in the world. He drops a gift wherever it was that you planted that wonderful thing, whatever you planted.
Yeah.
So next year, just
next
plant
year,
a little plant or something.
Plant a plant, get a candy.
Yes, I did make a large donation on that day to American Forests to plant a bunch of trees on my behalf and match. They matched the funding on Earth Day. So
someone will be walking by those trees one day, and Mustachio will give them sustainable, reusable underwear, probably.
Yes. Yeah. Good joke. Good full circle joke. Well done, Noel. That's good.
That's exciting.
Well, thanks again. We'd love to have you back anytime. And once things open up even more, hopefully one of these days we can come up to your neck of the woods and say, hey, or see you at another convention at some point in time.
Please, I'll take you climbing.
Oh, I'd love that.
We're going.
I'd love that.
In fact, we'll do it the day after the party with you. That's my commitment. Doesn't matter what happens or how crazy it gets. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. with you, and we're doing the walk.
God,
we're doing the hike.
I'm really gonna have to dial back my partying, I guess.
No, dial it up and just see what happens.
Just see what happens.
You gotta do Holly style
and film it. Film it.
Exactly.
If you go to sleep, then you're gonna obviously be tired.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks again for coming on to this show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us in the Biofriendly podcast. It was a pleasure. We'll be in touch, and this will go up basically Thursday. So we'll see it. We'll let you know. We'll send you the links, and we'll promote it out there. So thanks for joining us, Holly.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks to the three of you.
Yeah, for sure.
you.
We'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go eat some ants on a log. See you later.
Yeah. Good.
Awesome.
Good call. Go eat some ants on
Sounds
logs.
so good.
Bye, Holly.
So we have to do our thing again, and I feel like I've forgotten.
Oh, just because you were
I
in
was out
some
of town,
undisclosed
and
location
I feel like
last
the
week?
undisclosed location has dropped all of them out. But we'll see how bad it goes or how good it goes.
Okay, we are
You
your.
did good
That was
last
actually
week.
yeah, I did. That's all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
that was,
are-
by the way, surprisingly smooth exit by Holly when she give us room to not miss a beat on our keeping the show going. And
I know, we didn't have to
Yeah.
go you have the choice now.
No,
We just said goodbye.
We just said bye, and she's like, "Hey, see you later." It was this was good. It'll be interesting to see how smooth or not smooth future gets. I would I'll laugh if some guests just
Just hang out?
I'm watching this.
I'm watching.
I don't
this.
care what you say. I'm in
By
the mood.
episode 300, I think we'll get it down.
Yeah, we think we will. We think we'll have it down.
Who am I kidding?
Down.
Who am I kidding? We'll never have it
That
down.
was so great to have Ollie on the show.
Oh, wasn't it awesome? She's
so
so
amazing.
knowledgeable on her material, and she's just doing some great stuff up there. And she's just a blast to be around. She's one of those
Yeah, she
personalities
definitely seems like
that I mean, when you go to these things, there's a lot of people there, so it's kind of hard to really take the time to get to know somebody. But she was
Right.
somebody that right out of the gate was smiling and just making us feel incredibly welcome on that bus, and just such a cool person.
Yeah.
And honestly, she really is Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I'm pretty, because she works for Microsoft and she
Right.
climbs mountains, so I'm pretty sure she's a spy.
Yeah,
I'm
she,
like,
has to.
she has a machete that she uses not to
Yeah.
cut
No.
back trees, but just to fight villains.
fight villains
Yeah.
and then make her lunch out
Make
of
her
plants.
lunch so she can make her
Ants on a log.
cut up those tortillas to fold up over the crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah, so you'd never had peanut butter on a tortilla, huh? That was not.
No,
it?
I am the most boring human.
I feel like I have,
Yeah.
I've had it. Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe a crepe might be better.
a crepe. They make crepes with peanut butter.
Yeah.
Peanut butter crepe,
Yeah, it's actually
no,
pretty-
Owen loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's up for it, but the crunchy,
Yeah.
he's not up for the crunchies.
Yeah, I had a friend growing up as a kid who always had peanut butter and honey. And I always thought that was a really unusual one. I've had it; it's good, but it's like I couldn't have that on a regular
Yeah.
basis. Have you ever had peanut butter and honey?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's good,
Yeah,
but it
here's the
feels
thing.
dessertish.
Peanut butter it really blends well with sweet. I think that's why peanut butter and jelly works. There's something about it
That works
really
well.
it kicks it up a notch when you add just a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And then you can vary the sweetness. I mean, you can put peanut butter and strawberries. It'll probably blow your mind off.
Blow my mind off.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, guys.
We did it?
We did it.
All right, we'll see you later.
We're your beacon of light.
What?
In a gloomy environment.
Carefully avoiding neonicotinoids.
We are the Siegfried and Roy and Meryl Streep of podcasts.
This show is a joke.
There he goes.
Yes.
Oh no. No, never believe.
Step 1, stop smoking.
No. I'm on to you.
So don't
I'm on
stop
to you.
smoking.
I'm on to him. He's messing it up on purpose now.
No, I forgot. What is
he
it?
knows it, and he's just gonna throw something at us.
Step
new
1,
every time.
believe.
No. Step 1, chill out.
Step 1, stop being so hot.
Yes.
Step 1, chill out.
Step 1, lower your body temperature. Oh, that was such a fun show. All right, guys, let's get out of here.
All right.
Cheerio.
Bye.
That's how we know it's done.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.